Hi there, and welcome back to the all-new series, All You Need to Know About Tattooing Line by Steely. And in this episode, we're going to be taking a visit down to professional tattoo suppliers, having a walk around and looking at the products that you can buy from there. As well as I'm going to be unboxing a couple of tattoo machines that we're going to be doing a promo with M&M Custom Irons. They've done a professional promo version of the tattoo machines, the kind of style that I like to use personally, and they've done this as a personal signature range to this studio and to these videos. And in the next up and coming video, along from having the quick walk around the suppliers and looking at a couple of the products that we've bought from the professional products that will make your tattoo experience a lot better, a lot easier to get into the skin, and also enhance the kind of quality of tattoos that you'll be putting out there. Along with the promotion with the tattoo machines, I will be doing a video next up from this about setup for a liner, a colour packer and a shader, and I will be showing you straight from the box. I've unboxed these once on another channel just to show them. I'm going to unbox them again today on this channel just to show you guys the machines that we're going to be using for the actual video tutorials. I'll be using these machines all the way through, so you'll be able to see from the setup of the liner, the colour packer and the shader that the work that's being done along the lines with the products that I've got from the supply studio, the supply shop, to do the tattoos and the custom work that we'll be doing in these videos. You'll be able to see that the quality of the materials that you use is going to enhance your tattoo work. And I never advocate buying inks off places like eBay unless you know that the place on eBay is a reputable ink supplier or tattoo supplier. There's a lot of different brands out there, a lot of knockoff and a lot of fake brands on eBay that claim to be the actual inks and the needles, tubes that you can purchase off there, and they're just coming in from places like Korea, Thailand and China. I think Japanese stuff is relatively good, but China especially doing a lot of knockoff inks. Really what you want is you want sterilised, professional sterilised inks. Some of these brands like Fusion, I'm not too sure now, but back in the day, Fusion, you could never purchase Fusion unless you had a tattoo license and a tattoo premises to tattoo from. And in some instances, from some of the inks from Germany, from some of the brands that I've purchased from over there, no names mentioned on that because I don't use that brand anymore, but one of the brands from Germany that I used to use, you had to send over a photocopy of your documentation of your license, and you had to also send photographic evidence of the work that you produce with the materials that you had at hand at the time before they would even allow you to be able to purchase their products from their site. But I think in this day and age now, I think it's slightly changed. I think the tattoo industry is opening up more. It's not becoming as clicky as it used to be. But this is what these videos are about. These videos are about opening up the market even wider for the new people who want to get into tattooing, people who are into artwork, and people want to start to get tattooing into the skin, getting their artwork down into skin, should I say. And I can't stress more highly than anything through this video, there are the three main factors of running a tattoo studio and doing tattoos. You know, first and foremost is the hygiene, and that's why I've laid out the video series in the way that it's been. It started off with the art development and just the standardised route of where you start into tattooing from the art. So if you've not seen any of the early videos, please go back, watch some of the earlier videos, because there's nothing wrong with starting right at the very beginning and then working your way up. As the videos progress, as they get more and more advanced, as the techniques get more and more advanced, if you're trying to get into the tattoo industry and you just start skipping each stage and just jump to the parts where you feel, well, you know, I don't really want to know about that, but I just want to know about how to set a machine up, how to put the needles in and how to start tattooing ink into skin, you're letting yourself down in the process. Start from the beginning. It may be mundane, it may seem so simplistic to some of the information that I'm giving there, but generally the foundations that you start off, those building blocks that you start off, is what's going to create you as a great tattoo artist at the end of the day. going through those step by step. You only have to watch those videos once really. It's just, most of it is general knowledge, but it will set you on a good path and a good stead, so you know exactly what we're talking about in the later episodes. If you're an advanced person and you've done a little bit of tattooing before and you know the hygiene side of it and you feel that you want to skip ahead, you know, do that. I don't advocate it. I really do say just go back and watch them just at least once, just so that it's in your mindset, and just to also make sure and refresh that everything that you are doing now as a person who's tattooing, that you are doing it correctly. Just, it's nice to refresh yourself on that part as well, just for your own peace of mind. But I cannot strongly recommend, more than anything, a good tattoo machine, good inks, needles, and obviously proper tubs and tubes for putting those needles and inks in the skin. A good machine is always going to make sure that you've got consistency when it comes down to laying that ink in the skin. There's a lot of Chinese knockoffs on the market, really cheap constructed tattoo machines, and when I get to unboxing these I will be starting talking about that, and I will be talking about that when we're doing the setup as well, and the reason why you should go for a good custom made machine. I will be talking about rotaries, as I've said in the previous episodes. I will be talking about rotary machines. I am an advocate for the coil, I'm loyal to the coil, but at the end of the day, you know, rotary machines do have a part to play in tattooing. I'm not saying that I poo-poo rotaries at all. I'm just saying that there are a few fundamental breakdowns with a rotary machine that you cannot really do the same kind of work as you can do with a coil. Some people may disagree with that and may say that you can do everything with a rotary machine that you can do with a coil, but I don't think pepper spray, pepper shading that you can do with a coil machine comes out exactly the same when you're using a rotary, and I'll start talking about the concept of HIT and that when we start going into setting up the machines. But for now, primarily this video is going to be talking about the professional tattoo suppliers, where to get your inks from, get those professional inks. Like I say, I'm not too sure about the Fusion range at the moment. You may still have to have documentation to prove that you're tattooing. Later on in the episodes, when we get to the end of these episodes, I will be talking to you about how to obtain your license and how to obtain a license for a studio, and how you prepare everything in the studio area so that you will be able to get your license from the council that you're in. Also, again, I picked up some of this Radiant ink. I've been using this recently. It's a very good ink. It goes in really, really well. I'm also going to be doing a full actual breakdown of all the different inks that I use, from the old school type of inks all the way through to all the new brands, and the things like World Famous, which is one that I've started to use recently. Not fully educated in the full range of these inks as of yet, but as I've tried them all and tested them all, I have found that even in all of the good range, this is generally my go-to ink when it comes down to it, which is Fusion. Not being paid by any of these people, there's no sponsorship or anything like that. I'm just saying what I use. Other artists may say different. Other artists may be sponsored by other ink companies, or tube companies or needle companies, and they may push that brand of ink or needle or tube that they're using at the time because they're being sponsored by them. Well, I've got a non-biased opinion here because I'm not sponsored by any of these people. So what I'm doing here is I'm pushing products and talking about products that I use and I know work well. So like I said, the Fusion range has always worked well for me. The license thing, that may be an issue with some people at the moment, but then again they may have likes on that, I don't know. Like I said, it's World Famous ink, seems to be coming through really well. It seems to have a nice consistency. I am kind of leaning towards Radiant as an ink, and especially for people who want to start to try and do tattooing. Once you've gone through those steps and stages that I was talking about in the earlier episodes, when you start getting the artwork down, because that's the main factor. Once you've got the art side of it nailed to where you feel that you're comfortable enough to be able to work on a client, at least to try and reproduce some of the old school style artwork that you're getting together. Once you get to that stage, then you're moving on to looking at what's going to be coming up next. Once you've gone through the health and hygiene part of it, but then what you're going to be needing to do then is go through the next stage, which is going to be the video after this, which is going to be setting up these machines, how to set up these coil machines. Now, a lot of people will probably say, you know, if you get hold of a rotary, a decent rotary, something like a Cheyenne Hawk or something like that, a Dragonfly, or some of the Ned's kind of rotary tattoo machines. Like I say, I will be going into those because I do own a couple of those myself. And they're straight out of the box and they're running. And you can tattoo with those if you know and have the tattoo skills to be able to use them. Because don't think that just by jumping in using a rotary tattoo machine that you're going to start pushing out fantastic work just because you're using a rotary machine and you're not using a coil. There's a lot more to the setup of a coil than there is to a rotary. There is still the dampening function on a rotary machine that controls the actual softness and the hit, and that I've got to go into, like I say, in a later date when we start talking about the rotary side of it. But the dampening and the hit and the bob down, which is what we'll be talking about when we set up these machines. As you follow me through the series, I'll be using these machines, the colour packer, the liner and the shader, all the way through the series of doing the tattoos. And as I say, we've struck a deal with M&M Custom Irons, and that again, when I do the setup, we'll be talking fully about that, how you can get hold of these custom built machines, handmade custom built machines for a knockdown promotional price. It will be only on the one set, and that's the Steel Needles custom set, signature set, that has been done for these videos and that has been done obviously running in line with my studio. But the promotional offer on these is a fantastic promotional offer, and you won't get the quality of workmanship that's been put into these machines for anywhere else for that kind of price. So we'll have a little talk now about the needles, and obviously going into a reputable tattoo suppliers and purchasing these needles, you know that these needles are then all pre-packed, sterilised. They have their expiry dates on them, and as you can see, they've got like the clave markings on to prove that they're actually sterile. And if those clave markings change colour, those little dots on the packaging there, you know that the actual packaging has been the seal on it is broken and it's been compromised, so you would not use that needle. So there again, you see, having this quality equipment pre-packaged and pre-sterilised means that you don't need to have an autoclave. You're not running the same needle twice in any other client, so the hygiene levels are there at a maximum by using these products, and by going to a reputable dealer and purchasing these reputable supplies from a professional manufacturer is going to guarantee your client's safety, and it's going to guarantee your safety in your studio, because primarily your customer comes in once or twice a year. Sometimes if they're a regular customer and they're coming in every other month or every month, you know, they're in there once every month to a limited time of like once or twice a year, whereas you're in that environment every single day. So the use of pre-sterilised products, your inks, needles, your inks, your needles, your tubes and your cups, you know, using quality equipment, quality sterilised equipment is not just looking after your client, which obviously is a primary part of it. It's also looking after yourself as a tattoo artist. You know, you're working in that environment day after day, so I can never stress that enough. Hygiene has got to be at the maximum. It's got to be the number one priority when it comes down to tattooing. So I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to flip over now to walking around the actual tattoo suppliers, and then we'll talk a little bit more about these, and we'll unbox the actual tattoo machines, and I'll talk a little bit more about the tattoo machines before we go into the next episode, which will actually be setting up those machines ready to do some lining, ready to do some shading and ready to do some colour packing. So we are going to be getting into the more exciting side of the tattooing. We'll have got rid of basically the section of starting off and wrapping, learning how to do the hot zone, and that's something that we will be going into just before we actually start putting the needles into skin. We'll be talking about the setting up a hot zone where you'll be using your needles and your inks and your tubes on your client, and that's the zone where once you've opened skin, nothing has to be cross contaminated with that zone. We'll talk all about that. But as for now, we're going to have a quick little walk around the actual professional suppliers where I picked up these products for my studio, and then I'll go into talking about these a little bit more into detail. Catch you in a minute.
So I'm going to do a quick walk around this tattoo suppliers, tattoo everything. You can find them online, and I'll put the URL down at the bottom of the actual link in the video. But I thought I've got a day off today, so I'm going to have a quick walk around. I needed to pick up some supplies for the studio, so I thought I'll kill two birds with one stone. I'll pop in here, I'll do the video, and I'll also pick up the supplies for the studio as well. So without further ado, I'll walk on inside. He's busy with somebody at the moment, so I'm going to do a little bit of silent videoing, and then I'll overdub over the top of that. So obviously the conversation that they're involved in and that they're getting underway is not going to be in the video in itself. So I'll have to do a little bit of overdubbing. But thanks to Bri for letting us come down here and actually do this video in these professional suppliers, because there's not many people out there will actually let you do that. But he's let us come down and he's let us do this video, as well as I can collect all my gear while I'm here. Alright, so I'll spin the camera around, we'll have a little walk around. Like I say, we'll do a silent episode of it, and I'll actually do some overdubbing and talking and explain to you what I'm doing, why I collect up some of my gear as well. Alright, catch you in a minute. Let's flip this around.
So we've just entered the shop now. We're going straight over to the ink section. We're here at the fusion part, and just underneath that is the world famous. All the different colour ranges, and these are all like single purchase bottles. And then under there's a lot of the stencil fluids, different stencil fluids. And moving around to the back section here, he does stock a couple of machines, and then we're on to the art and needle boxes. It's got a wide variety of needle ranges, and we're down at the hygiene section here as well, where you've got your disposable tubs for needles. Again, aftercare and balms are on that section as well. And then we're going down the needle section here, all the different versions and variations of needles that you may need. Down at this section here is the power supplies and the foot switches. A good quality foot switch and power supply is always good to regulate the power flow through to your tattoo machine. And again, we're on the grey wash section here, and also all the boxed colours, different colour brands and makes. World famous there, and that's just his pay dash and counter. Obviously he does online as well, and we've got the URL in the corner of the screen there for his supply shop. This is the grips, even things like travel cases and things like that for your equipment. All the tubes and grips for your tattoo needles for inside the tattoo machines, and green soaps and cleaning fluids as well. As I said earlier on, he was having a conversation with somebody else. I was just picking up and purchasing a few items myself. We're talking about this later on as we move back into the studio, picking up a bit of fusion there, and just going through a few of the different brands. This is the world famous again. Going to be trying that range out a little bit more. He's got a lot of stock of that in, and it seems to go in the skin quite well. This radiant section here, I've been loving the radiants, to be honest with you. I think the radiant inks are a really good quality ink at the moment. Every pigment that I've used so far seems to go in really well, and good quality clip cords as well. So you see that he, as an online stockist and as a stockist for somebody who can just walk in and have a good walk around the shop as well, he stocks quite a lot of equipment. you've got all your different variations of stencil fluids, but as I've stated before, and you can make your own stencil fluid.
Well, the problem with coming in a place like this is like a kid in a candy shop. Until the leak.
Hi, so that was a quick walk around at professional tattoo suppliers, and then where I picked up the inks, the Radiance, the Fusion and the world famous. Like I say, I'm going to be giving the world famous a little bit more of a blast. I'm going to be going through the full range, well, the spectrum of these inks to see what colours work. And as you'll probably find as you start honing your tattoo skills, even when you're using some of these top branded names like Fusion and the Radiance and this world famous, which seems to be working quite well, even though you'll be using those brands of inks, you'll find that at that top end spectrum there's still certain colour ranges within each one of those inks that you prefer to use, like the consistency of the actual ink itself. Radiance consistency, I seem to be really liking this Radiance. The more colours that I use from the range, the more I'm like leaning towards this Radiant ink. It's got a really nice consistency to the actual ink set. And same with Fusion. Fusion's got a really good consistency. As we get into the actual talking about when we're tattooing and I'm actually putting the ink into the skin, I'll talk to you about various methods that I use to actually make the inks as fluid as I like them for when I'm putting them in the skin, or how fluidic I want them when I'm blending colours. We'll go more into that obviously when we're into the actual tattooing section. As for now, it was just about purchasing inks and purchasing good quality brand inks, irradiated and sterilised inks, as well as the irradiated, sterilised, argon gas sterilised needles, and good professional quality sterilised pre-packed tubes to run those needles with, and those plastic tubs to put that ink into, so that you've got that sterile environment. That said, now we'll move on from the actual tattoo tubes, inks and needles that we purchased from that main supplier. We'll move into talking about these custom built tattoo machines that are going to be on a promo, as I said, for the actual video series that we're doing now. And these are all handmade custom tattoo machines. None of these tattoo machines have been set up yet, and I'm going to be doing a full video on that. That's what's going to be coming up next. You're going to be learning how to set these machines up. Each one of these machines are going to be set up slightly different, even though to the standard layman's eyes these machines all look the same. As I've already previously stated in another video where I unboxed these for a different channel, all these machines look identical in shape and style, but that's what we've done for this range, for this Steel Needles line by line custom range of tattoo machines, handcrafted, hand built, coils all hand wound. Everything that you see on this machine has been put together and fabricated by M&M Custom Irons. And we'll be talking about that obviously again, like I've said numerous times in this video, that we're running a promotion with these guys, and you'll be able to pick up and purchase the full set, the liner, the colour packer and the shader, with a promo code that I'll be sending out to you on screen in the next episode when we start talking about how we're going to set these up, how you may want to customise them to your own personal taste as well. There are a few little bits and bats that I like to do to my machines as I'm setting them up, and these all come preset, you know, as a standardised machine, and I'm going to be showing you how to set each individual one up differently to make a liner, a colour packer and a shader out of each individual one. But yeah, the quality of these machines is absolutely fantastic. You know, the manufacturing of them is absolutely beautiful, and we'll be going into in depth what goes into these machines, the geometry, why we've chose this frame style, and how we're going to change each individual machine to specifically do a job that it's going to be set out to do, whether it be colour packing, lining or shading. In the same manner as if you were to do like a drawing or a painting, you would need a different paintbrush, a different thickness of paintbrush, or a different, you know, stubbier paintbrush for doing different kind of techniques in and around doing that artwork that you'd be doing. The same way as doing pencil work. You know, if you was doing a pencil portrait, or you were doing some old school kind of drawing with a watercolour or something like that, you would need a bold black liner to do the outlines, and then you'd probably dip into watercolours and paintbrushes to actually put in the watercolours and the different blends of colour through the actual artwork piece. Well, in the same way, that's what you need with a tattoo machine. Each individual machine does specific jobs. Now, sometimes you can set up a machine to do various kind of jobs that will do good in two kind of areas, whether it be lining, colour packing or shading, you know, colour blending and things like that. You can actually set up a machine. I tend to set up a liner, you know, and again, some other people may, you know, turn around and poo-poo this, but I set up a liner to actually be able to do what I call speed lining. And I also set up a liner to do sculpting, and that all changes with the hits of the machine, the recoil of it, and that's all to do with the front, the back springs, the geometry of where your actual armature bar is set, coil capacity, and we will be talking about that, like I say, in the setup, and that's the next video coming along in this series. We'll be talking about the setting up of these machines. I hope that you've actually got some good knowledge from this one, and I will be posting links down below for M&M Custom Irons, so you'll be able to have a look through the full range of tattoo machines that they do. And we'll also, like I said, the promo will be going on this. So in the next series, I'll be giving you a promo code, so where you can actually purchase these machines, so you'll be able to set up along with me, as well as do all the tattooing in the later videos using the same setup kind of machines, so that you know that what you're setting up, as long as you're using the products that I'm stating, you should be able to recreate the kind of work that we're putting out there. So hope to see you in the next video. We'll talk more about the setup side of it. We'll talk about the geometry of the frames. I'll post a link down below for the tattoo suppliers, because he runs online, so you'll be able to have a word message through to the tattoo suppliers, purchase off online. I think he does PayPal as well as credit and debit cards. I think M&M Irons, I think they do PayPal and credit and debit cards, so you can actually purchase through them as well online. So yeah, I will hopefully catch you soon again in the next series, and we'll start setting up some of these custom machines, and then we'll get into the real nitty gritty of the tattoo world, and we'll start setting up a hot zone and start getting some ink into the skin. Catch you all later, and thank you for watching Steel Needles and Line by Steel Lee. Thank you for watching the new series, All You Need to Know About Tattooing Line by Steel Lee. And if you've liked the episode so far, please like and subscribe so that you get the new episodes as soon as they come out.